Our core mandate as a business channel is to drive business from morning up to morning. We want to say thank you for joining us. This time around, we'll be delving so much into the department of the Single Customs Territory, which is one of the other critical departments under the Uganda Revenue Authority. Now, this discussion comes at a time when we are winding up the financial year 2021-2022, but also transitioning into another financial year 2022 and 2023. We want to discuss and find out the role of the Single Customs, why it was initiated, and how far have they performed. And that and more, to help us discuss this, is the Commissioner in charge of the Single Customs Department, Abel Kegumire. Commissioner, it's a pleasure and thank you for joining us.
Oh, pleased to meet you. Welcome to URA Smart TV. I'm happy to speak to you on the Single Customs Territory.
What is this Single Customs Territory?
The Single Customs Territory, as it is in the word, Single Customs Territory, it basically means that the East African countries, we call them partner states, through the heads of state, which we call the summit, decided that it will be one territory. That means you may have borders, but in terms of clearance of goods, under what we call a customs union, because we are in a customs union, all the East African countries, there will be no borders. So it means that when goods come and they are imported into East Africa and they reach the ports, now like the border of East Africa here would be Mombasa. True. The border of East Africa would be Dar es Salaam.
That's true.
The border of East Africa would be a border between South Sudan and Sudan. Between a border now like EAC, now we have DRC has joined. A border between DRC and Congo, Brazzaville.
Okay.
So that would be the border as you enter East Africa. So Single Customs Territory means that if goods come and are entering any East African partner state, they pay at the first point of entry. I don't know that we are together.
We are together.
You either decide to pay at the first point of entry, and we shall not charge you any costs that you incur between that port when you entered from and when goods enter your country. If they are going to Juba, we stop charging. Juba will stop, South Sudan will stop charging you when you are in Mombasa. If they are coming to Kampala, we'll start charging you from when goods arrive at the port of Mombasa or Dar es Salaam. So that's the meaning of the Single Customs Territory. Before, you would just come and we start charging you when you reach Malaba and Busia. South Sudan will charge you when you reach Elegu or Nimule. Okay? Congo will start charging you when you reach Mpondwe. But now, all the costs that you incur for the goods you have imported, we start charging you when they reach Mombasa or Dar es Salaam at the ports. So that's the big difference in the Single Customs Territory. So whatever happens to your goods now between Mombasa and Kampala, it's like they have already entered your house.
Okay.
I hope I've tried to do that.
We are
now,
clear.
Then under the Single Customs Territory, we also have what we call transfer of goods. So we no longer call them imports. If goods are manufactured in Kenya, let's say Thika. Thika has many industries in Kenya, or Nairobi, or Mombasa, and you just transfer, and they are manufactured in Kenya. Or you manufacture them here in Uganda. Murwana here can manufacture batteries. Roofings can manufacture steel. So when you manufacture those in Uganda and you are taking them, let's say, to Rwanda, it's a transfer. You're transferring them from one partner state to another partner state. So like when you move goods from Kampala to Mbarara, before, that's how it was. You would move goods, people come and buy from Kampala and you take them to Mbarara. Now you are bringing them from Nairobi to Kampala, from Nairobi to Kigali, from Kampala to Kigali, from Kampala to Kinshasa. to Juba. So it's called a transfer. So those are the two dynamics under the single customs territory. And we have different regimes that we use.
Okay.
If they are coming from outside countries, of course we will charge you cost, insurance and freight. If they are being transferred from Nairobi to here, there are no taxes. You're just transferring goods from Nairobi to Kampala. So you don't have to pay taxes for what?
So why the taxes on the other side, since all these are members of the East African community?
Which taxes now?
The ones you earlier on mentioned.
The taxes we charge are now for those which have come outside the East African community.
Okay.
We charge import duty, we will charge you VAT, we will charge you withholding tax. So we will charge you those taxes because goods have not been manufactured within the East African region.
Okay.
So those are those taxes. So when you find me as a commissioner of customs, I'm collecting international trade taxes. So when I'm collecting international trade taxes under the single customs territory, I'm collecting taxes for goods which have been imported outside the East African region.
So how has this eased the business?
Yes. It has eased the business because now you can see there are no more disturbances. One, our officers would wait for goods to arrive in Uganda. Now they are in Mombasa. They are in Dar es Salaam. We are planning to deploy in Kinshasa. We are planning to deploy in Juba. We are planning to deploy in all the capitals. So our officers no longer have to sit here. If you were around those days of the East African community before it broke down, this is where we are going now. We have about 40 staff, 45 staff in Mombasa, in Kisumu, in Eldoret, in Dar es Salaam, in Nakuru, in Naivasha. So you can see we have deployed we have a whole division in customs called external operation.
There are concerns from the business community with all the number of staff that you've mentioned. Why the delays at times?
I think it has eased. Maybe the business community need to know that it used to take 18 days for you to clear your goods from Mombasa to Kampala. 18 days. You ask them now, it is taking 3 to 4 days. Why? Because you have a single document. You have a single document. So now you capture once, we call it a WT8, and it is recognized by all East African countries.
Okay.
You come once. Now before you would capture in Kenya, Kenya finishes their process, then you come to the border on Kenyan side, they also finish their process, they come to Ugandan side, finish their process. You're taking almost 18 days to get a 1x40 container in Kampala, in Chikubu. Now ask them. 4 days, maybe they want 1 day, but still 1 day is not possible because even the truck has to move, maybe if it is by air. But I think the single customs territory has been a game changer. It's been a game changer on sharing information. It's been a game changer in integrating our systems now. Our SCUDA system reads the Kenyan system, the Tanzanian system called TANSYS. So we work like in the same system.
Commissioner, talk to us about the barriers.
Barriers.
From your side and then from our side as the business community.
I think the barriers, of course, for me as we are trying to remove all the bottlenecks along the supply chain as Uganda Revenue Authority.
Okay.
Because the barriers would be customs has finished their job, then other government agencies are interfering with the goods.
What are these bottlenecks that you're
So
talking about?
the bottlenecks would be like way bridges. No, you have to stop at some way bridges, security checkpoints, multiple inspections. Those are the barriers which should impact, we were impacting the traders. But now, when you pay your taxes in Mombasa, you pay from here. You don't have to go to Mombasa and pay from Mombasa. You just go to your bank and pay taxes. Money will be reflected. Officers in Mombasa will release the cargo. It goes to your shop
Direct away.
Yes. The truck goes to your shop because you have paid taxes. The officers have verified you in Mombasa. Those days you would have first come, they verify you. In Nairobi checkpoint, they check you. The Way Bridge checks you. Then, you know, it's a long process. So now we are saying, pay your taxes at the port. You have your parking list, send your documents. The documents are normally sent through the clearing agents or by mail or by courier, or you capture them in the system. Our officers will see them from there. You don't have to go there even. Maybe you appoint an agent who will help you to do the verification, and the truck will come to your shop. This was not before. This was not before. When you reach the border, let's say Malaba and Busia, because we have what post-entry verification. If they have verified your consignment, the Kenyan officers, let me use the example of Busia and Malaba, we have what we call a one-stop border post.
And has it worked anyway?
Yes, ask them. A one-stop border post means that Kenyan officers, Kenya Revenue Authority officers, are seated on the Ugandan side. Kenyan immigration officers are seated on Uganda side. Are we together?
We are together, Commissioner.
So when they are handling a consignment, when it comes, or the driver who is driving the truck, they handle you once. You come, drive into Uganda. You don't remain in Kenya. You drive into Uganda. Kenyan officers handle you. Ugandan officers handle you. You go.
But
Unlike before, before you first stop in Kenya, before the one-stop border post, Kenya formalities, agriculture, UN, KEBS, KRA, everyone interested first finishes. You spend there like 5 days. They are working on you. Then you cross like how many meters? 500 meters. Then Ugandan officers also start. That has been solved. That has been solved. You park once. If it is coffee and we are exporting, you don't stop in Uganda. You stop on the Kenyan side of the border. And our Ugandan officer will be there, hands over to the Kenyan officers. They also handle. You proceed to Mombasa.
So what are some of the barriers that emanate from us now as the business community?
I think what I'm seeing the traders, what we request them to do is to delays in payment in the port especially.
Okay.
They give us about 14 days. There used to be 9 days. We lobbied and they gave them 14 days to keep their goods after they have arrived. So our traders sometimes take long to clear. So you find them, they are being charged some storage charges, extra. You keep a container in the port for almost 30 days. Then you find you're paying more extra money. Yet you could have avoided it within 14 days. That's one thing I'm seeing. Then the other one is the kind of trucks they use when they are coming. They get a lot of breakdowns along the way. Then you find us going back to resolve them. You find the truck taking longer. So we find some have no TGL. They have not paid the transit goods licenses. Then you have to stop them, first pay road user charges. Those are some of the impediments I see. If they were paying on time, using the right clearing agents, they would have it would be a smooth flow for their cargo.
Okay.
And another thing is around the documentation.
From the business side?
Yes. We still want, if you are not compliant, you will have a challenge in this system. Because we will detect. They want to, sorry to say, not all of the traders. There are those who are still bent on falsifying documents. So they go online and attach wrong documents. Then when they detect them there in Mombasa, they query them too much. So there is a bit of delay because of the wrong documents that you attach. But if you are attaching genuine documents, then you would have no issues.
Do issues of tax evasion still exist?
Tax evasion. They have been existing since time immemorial, but we do our best to stop tax evasion. And that is part of them. Falsification of documents is tax evasion.
Sure.
Yes. Because you know you bought your things at $20,000 US. you want to pay $5,000. Isn't that tax evasion? Because we base on the value of the goods to compute the taxes.
But you partly play a role in the verification, Commissioner.
Yes.
Maybe your team.
So when we verify, that's when we detect them. We detect them and penalize them. We penalize them under Section 203 for falsifying documents and attaching wrong documents. And I think that's how they do it, through the gazetted borders, through the normal system. So we have about 3 areas of tax evasion. One is through falsification of documents.
Okay.
The other one is outright smuggling. Outright, someone decides to bring a whole container without even paying a penny. How they do it? They can use panyas, okay? They can use panyas, risking. And they use panyas, you might get them, you may not get them. There are those who want to pass through the normal way, but again, they don't capture all the items that are on the consignment.
Okay.
We have those, the other category is the concealers, people who conceal. He says, I'm bringing shirts, when actually inside he says, I have raw materials. That's another form of tax evasion and smuggling.
But so how do these occur? You have officers on the borders, well-trained and deployed officers. So how does this happen, Commissioner?
It's like when you're at home and you have your house, you have a guard and you even have a dog, but the thief still goes into the house and steals your goods. That's exactly what I can explain it. Officers are everywhere, they're at the borders, but a smuggler is like a thief. I would categorize them as a thief. They just find the way of somehow sneaking through. But we've put systems in place now to stop smuggling and tax evasion. It is going to be hard, very hard for them, because we'll get to know. We'll get to know.
Is it just
Tell me how will you get to how? Because you have a single document. The truck is now, the weigh bridges in Kenya are linked to the Ugandan weigh bridges. So we'll know whether you've passed the weigh bridge or not. You have what we call the electronic cargo tracking system. So on your container, we fix an e-seal, which we monitor from Kampala as you travel, as you move. So tell me how you're going to steal that container. We will be seeing you. When you reach the border in Malaba, you have what we call X-ray scanners at the borders. So every truck has to go through the scanner. So it takes a picture of whatever you have in that consignment. Again, tell me how you're going to lie that I've put raw materials when actually they are shirts. We will see, because the picture will come out. And we control it from the headquarters, so you don't know who is seeing the picture of your. Now we have installed what we call smart gates. So if you change the number plate you want to smuggle, still the number plate will come. Automatic number plate recognition at our borders, Busia and Malaba. So technology has helped us now reduce on tax evasion.
How much is lost in tax evasion?
It's not much. Every month we get about 1.5 billion.
And that's not too much?
Yeah, considering how much is expected. And it's a lot of money. Every month, 1.5 billion is what we lose in tax evasion. And want to push it down. It used to be around 3 billion. Around 3 billion about 2-3 years ago. Now 1.5, you see, it's a reduction. So if we can push it down, but now we are seeing it's not through containers. It is through these porous borders. These things come back, across that Busia stretch. As you get 1 or 2 things cross the border where we have no presence. That's why it's accumulatively, it comes to about 1.5 in terms of recovery. And we think our systems are now able even to detect before you even leave the border. Those days you would detect from Chikubo. Now we detect from the border. That shows our systems are efficient and our intelligence.
Commissioner, in your preamble, you talked about issues of the clearance and forwarding agents. I understand you certify these people. So how do all these things happen if you are the person that certifies them? Okay,
the East African Community Customs Management Act allows us to give a license to a clearing agent. So we work with a clearing agent, and it's an annual license. So we give them an annual license based on about 2 or 4 factors. One, is that they must have a place of abode. We come and visit your premises, your office. Like you've seen my office. You have clear systems, you have staff, you have enough office space. Either you are renting or it is yours. You have enough equipment, computers, you have staff, you have a personnel, you are structured basically. Then that is very key for you to become a clearing agent. Secondly, you need to be established. You cannot be just localized because the goods come from Mombasa. So we ask, do you have a branch in Malaba? You have a branch in Mombasa, in Dar es Salaam? Because goods will be cleared along the chain and traders want to use you because you're known. Then we give them what we call key performance indicators. There is no clearing agent who works without passing key performance indicators. And some of the key performance indicators include, there should be, you should clear your consignment after assessment within a certain period. So that the client is aware that my consignment has to be cleared within 24 hours after I have paid taxes. If you clear after 24 hours, you don't have a license. It's a contract. Key performance indicator is what we make with them. And before we license them, they go through tests every year.
Because it's an annual thing.
Yes, they do tests, call them assessment tests. We give them questions. And if you have any offense during the year, you created an offense, or you wanted to cheat, or the taxpayer, you wanted to cheat on behalf of the taxpayer, you don't have a license the next year. That's how strict we are.
If that was the case, then we would see many clearing agents, their license would be cancelled. Because we hear many issues coming out from the business community about clearing agents.
Oh, maybe those are wrong agents. The agents we have,
they have certificates.
They have certificates. It's like when you see this, they are getting organized. We are trying to even organize them. They have certificates, and they even have, if you want to hire a clearing agent, ask them, where is your certificate? Show us how you passed at URA, because we give them a report, like you give a report of their performance. So you hire them. Now, the ones we are talking about could be brokers. There's a difference between a broker and a clearing agent. I don't license a broker.
You license
a clearing, customs clearing agent. I even give them access rights to the URA system. So every year when we license, we publish in the papers. So you as a trader, go to that list which we publish and say, oh, this one has been certified by Uganda Revenue Authority. We are going to work with this one.
Is it from the Uganda Revenue Authority, particularly from the docket or the single customs? This is the coffee court where we ask the hard questions. My name is Fred.